In the last video, we studied the structure of the male reproductive system. In this video, let us discuss the human female reproductive system.
Reproduction in lower and higher animals. This video contains the textual diagrams from Maharashtra State Board 12th Standard Biology textbook. Also, all the websites mentioned here have been used for diagrams and images. Let's study the human female reproductive system. The female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries, which are the primary sex organs of the female or the female gonads. It also shows a pair of fallopian tubes or the oviducts, a uterus, which is the womb, and a vagina. Those parts of the reproductive system which are present on the external body surface are collectively referred to as the external genitalia or the vulva. The reproductive system also shows a pair of accessory glands which is called the vestibular or Bartholin's glands. A pair of mammary glands also forms a part of the female reproductive system. Now, let us understand all these parts and study their structure and function. Let's begin from the ovaries, which are the female gonads. The ovaries are paired solid bodies present in the lower abdominal region. They are almond shaped or oval shaped. They are present in the upper lateral part of the pelvis. The ovaries are suspended and held in position with the help of various ligaments. We can see a broad ligament over here which is holding the ovary and connecting it to the dorsal body wall. Also, another ligament is the ovarian ligament which connects the ovary to the uterus. The main function of the ovary is the production of the female gamete, which is the ovum or the egg. Apart from this, the ovary also functions as an endocrine gland. It produces certain hormones. It produces the female hormones like estrogen and progesterone. It also produces relaxin, activin, and inhibin. What kinds of tissues and cells are present inside the ovary? To understand this, let us have a look at the transverse section of the adult ovary. The diagram here shows that the tiers of ovary can be divided into two regions. The outer region, which is known as the cortex, and the middle region, which is known as the medulla. The medulla shows a number of blood vessels, lymph vessels, and nerve fibers. In the cortex region, we see this layer of epithelium known as the germinal epithelium. The germinal epithelium will be producing the oogonia from which the female gametes will later develop. Also, we see a number of follicular structures. These are the ovarian follicles. Different types of ovarian follicles are present in the cortex. They are the primordial follicles, primary follicles, secondary follicles, and the mature or the Graafian follicle. Once the Graafian follicle ruptures and releases the secondary oocyte, the remaining part of the Graafian follicle is converted into a yellow body which is known as corpus luteum. The word corpus stands for body and luteum means yellow. So, the name itself says corpus luteum, that is yellow body. If the fertilization takes place, then the corpus luteum is retained in the ovary for a particular period. But if the fertilization does not take place, Then the corpus luteum is converted into a white body, which is known as the corpus albicans. The word albicans comes from the word albino, meaning white. It's a white colored body. Therefore, the name corpus albicans. We saw that there are a large number of ovarian follicles in the cortex region of the ovary. But what exactly are these follicles? A follicle is a structure having a developing stage of the female gamete in the center, surrounded by one or many layers of cells called as granulosa cells. Let us understand the different types of ovarian follicles. Firstly, the primordial follicle. This is the primordial follicle. This is the oocyte or the developing female gamete, and it is surrounded by a single layer of cells, single layer of granulosa cells. This forms the primordial follicle. The primordial follicle develops into a primary follicle. In the primary follicle, this is the oocyte, and it is now surrounded by many layers of granulosa cells. Further, the primary follicle develops into secondary follicle. As it changes into the secondary follicle, many small fluid-filled cavities appear in the follicle, and later all those fluid-filled cavities combine to form a single large cavity which is known as the antrum. The antrum is a cavity filled with fluid, and here this is the developing female gamete or the oocyte. This structure is the secondary follicle. The secondary follicle further develops into the mature follicle, which is known as the Graafian follicle. Let us understand what structures we see here. The Graafian follicle shows two coverings. The outermost covering is known as the theca externa, the external covering. This is a fibrous covering. Inner to the theca externa is theca interna, the internal layer, which is a cellular layer. In the Graafian follicle, we see that this is the secondary oocyte. The secondary oocyte is not lying in the center of the follicle. It has been pushed away from the center to one side. Hence, the secondary oocyte is said to be eccentric. Eccentric meaning away from the center. A large part of the Graafian follicle is occupied by the antrum. The antrum is a fluid-filled cavity, and the fluid which is present inside the antrum is known as liquor folliculi. Then this layer of cells is the granulosa layer of cells. This is known as membrana granulosa. This is the oocyte, and here are a few granulosa cells which are surrounding the oocyte. This region, this structure is known as the cumulus oophorus. The development of ovary in the female body starts in the embryonic stage itself. By 12 weeks of embryonic development, the ovary is completely formed and contains around 2 million primordial follicles in it. Also, oogenesis, or the process of production of female gametes, also starts even before the birth of the female baby. This is not the case in males. In males, the spermatogenesis will begin only at the onset of puberty. But in females, this has already started before the birth of the female. Let us see how. During the embryonic development, cells of the endoderm of the yolk sac migrate to a region called as the gonadal ridge. Here, they undergo mitosis and form oogonia. Oogonia are one of the earliest stage of the female gamete. The oogonia cells will get surrounded by layers of granulosa cells, and they will form the ovarian follicles. let us understand the formation and development of the different types of ovarian follicles. The germinal epithelium of the cortex in the ovary gives rise to groups of cells called oogonia. Oogonia are the early stage of the female gamete. These groups of oogonia arrange themselves in the cortex region in the form of tubes or cords, which are known as egg tubes of Fluger. Each egg tube has a round mass of cells known as the egg nest. A primordial follicle develops from the egg nest. What is the structure of a primordial follicle? A primordial follicle contains a primary oocyte surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells. Primary oocyte is another developing stage of the female gamete. The primary oocyte starts dividing by meiosis, but the process is arrested at the meiosis 1 stage itself. Hence, the ovaries of the fetus will show 2 million primordial follicles. They will not show any later stages of follicles like primary, secondary or Graafian follicle. These stages can be observed only in the adult female ovary. Out of the 2 million primordial follicles, nearly half of the follicles undergo atresia. Atresia means a large-scale destruction of follicles takes place. And at the time of the birth of the female baby, only 1 million primordial follicles remain in the ovaries. Later, many of these follicles also undergo atresia, and by the time the girl attains puberty, only 40,000 primordial follicles will remain. After attaining puberty, the later stages of follicles will develop as the process of meiosis is now resumed. So now we know that the fetal ovary will only show the primordial follicles, and the further development of follicles from primary to secondary to tertiary and to the Graafian follicle stage, this will take place only when the menstrual cycle begins at the onset of puberty. Now that we have understood the structure and development of the ovary, let us come to another part of the female reproductive system, that is the fallopian tubes or the oviducts. The fallopian tubes are a pair of muscular ducts that lie horizontally across the peritoneal cavity. These ducts are about 10 to 12 centimeter in length each. This is a fallopian tube. As you can see here, the proximal part of the fallopian tube lies close to the ovary. This is the ovary and this is the beginning of the fallopian tube. And the distal part is connected to the uterus. Internally, the fallopian tube is lined by the ciliated epithelium. A fallopian tube can be divided into 3 regions. The first part is known as the infundibulum. This is a funnel-shaped region and has an opening inside it known as the ostium. At the edge of the infundibulum, there are many finger-like projections which are known as the fimbriae. These fimbriae vibrate continuously so that when the ovum is released by the ovary, it can be driven inside the fallopian tube. The next curved long part of the fallopian tube is known as the ampulla. Ampulla is the site of fertilization. It is in this region that the fusion of the male and female gametes will take place. And lastly, the isthmus. The isthmus is a short portion which connects the fallopian tube to the uterus. Let's come to the next part of the female reproductive system, that is the uterus, which is commonly known as the womb. The uterus is a hollow pear-shaped organ. It is highly muscular. It is present above and behind the urinary bladder. The uterus can be divided into three regions. The uppermost dome-shaped region is known as the fundus. It is this region where the implantation of the embryo will take place. The middle broad part of the uterus is known as the body of the uterus. And the third lowermost part is a narrow region which is known as the cervix. The cervix shows two openings, the internal os and the external os. The internal os is the opening between the body of the uterus and the cervix, whereas the external os opens the cervix into the vagina. Let us understand the layers in the uterine wall. The wall of the uterus shows three layers. The outermost layer is the perimetrium. The middle layer is a thick layer of smooth muscles known as the myometrium. The word myo means muscles. This layer produces powerful contractions of the uterus during parturition, that is during delivery of the baby. And the innermost layer is the endometrium. Endometrium is a layer made up of stratified epithelium. Endometrium is richly supplied with blood vessels and also shows uterine glands. The uterine glands produce secretions which will nourish the developing embryo. The endometrium is regularly proliferated and shed during the menstrual cycle. The next part of the female reproductive system is the vagina. The vagina is the organ of copulation in females. That is, it is that part which will receive the male gametes or the sperms. The vagina is a tubular organ and it is highly distensible. It lies between the cervix part of the uterus and it opens into the vestibule, which is a part of the external genitalia. The opening of the vagina into the vestibule is known as the vaginal orifice. The vaginal orifice or opening of the vagina is partially covered by a mucous membrane known as the hymen. The vagina acts as a birth canal during parturition. That is, it is this passage through which the baby will be delivered. Also, the vagina serves as a passage for the menstrual flow during each menstrual cycle. Now, the parts of the female reproductive system which are present outside the vagina or on the outer body surface. These are the external genitalia. These parts are collectively called as the vulva or the pudendum. What are the parts of the vulva? Let us understand. First of all, the vestibule. The vestibule is a vertical depression in the vulva. The vestibule encloses two openings, the opening of the urethra and the opening of the vagina or the vaginal orifice. The urethra is a part of the excretory system and is not related to the female reproductive system. Just because it is lying in the vestibule, that's why we see the location here. The next part is the labia minora. Labia minora are thin folds which will join at the anterior region and form a hood-like structure called the clitoris. The clitoris is a highly sensitive conical structure. Then the labia majora. Labia majora are present outside the labia minora. They are thick fleshy folds surrounding the vestibule, and on the top of the labia majora a fleshy elevation is present which is known as the mons pubis. The mons pubis shows the presence of hair known as the pubic hair. The accessory glands of the female reproductive system is a pair of glands known as the Bartholin's glands or the vestibular glands. This is the pair of vestibular glands. These glands open into the vestibule and release a lubricating fluid. These glands are homologous to the Cowper's or bulbourethral glands in male. Another accessory glands of the female reproductive system are the mammary glands or the milk-producing glands. The mammary glands are a pair of rounded structures present in the anterior thoracic region from the level of the second to the sixth rib. Here we can see the location of the mammary glands. The mammary glands are modified sweat glands. The development of the mammary glands begins at puberty under the effect of the hormones estrogen and progesterone. During pregnancy, the development of the lactiferous tubules takes place due to the effect of the hormone prolactin. Prolactin is a hormone secreted by the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Let's have a look at the internal structure of the mammary gland. Each mammary gland or each breast shows 15 to 20 lobes which are known as the mammary lobes. Each mammary lobe is made up of alveolar glands and lactiferous ducts. The alveolar glands secrete the milk. These glands then open into the mammary tubules. The mammary tubules join to form a mammary duct, and the mammary ducts in turn join to form the mammary ampulla. The mammary ampulla is connected to the lactiferous duct. Here we can see the lactiferous duct. The lactiferous ducts all converge to the nipple. The nipple is present at the tip of the breast. See here, externally this is the nipple, and surrounding the nipple is a patch of dark brown skin which is known as the areola. So this is the structure of the mammary glands. So students, that was about the female reproductive system. Keep watching the channel for more videos and please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you.